All right. Hello, and welcome to the training, How the Online Itinerant Can Save You Money and Reduce Turnover. So, this training is actually specific for administration, really as a way to let you know how the online itinerant is available to partner with you and walk alongside of you as you support your staff who works with deaf and hard of hearing students. Not only is the purpose of the online itinerant to walk alongside of you and support you and this particular staff, but really the goal of it is to be able to also save you money, save the district money, and reduce the turnover, which is caused by staff burnout and just the need for support for this particular population of professionals. When I talk about how it saves you money, we're going to go into that in this training. But really, I want you to make sure that you understand who the online itinerant is and really the goals and purposes of how the online itinerant can support you. So, let me first of all introduce myself to you. My name is Stefanie Kessen. And I come to you as a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing for more than 25 years. So I have been in the field for long enough to see really the conversation flip. When I first entered the fields, students were generally educated in a program. So this program was often at a residential school or what they call a self-contained program, where the students got on the bus and they traveled to the school and the teacher, and there was a group of them together. Now, of course, the conversation has completely flipped in this time, and now the majority of students are met with inside their home districts, what we call what is now understood as what is currently understood largely as the least restrictive environment is the neighborhood school, neighborhood district. So generally students, 90% of our students go to that school, and instead of them traveling to see the teacher now travels to see them. So in today's landscape, 90% of students are educated in this environment, with 90% of our teachers, what we call itinerant teachers, so traveling teachers to meet the needs. I have experienced all aspects of this continuum, the self-contained programs, the resource rooms, and then the itinerant program. I also, for many, many years, was the education specialist in the state of Wisconsin in the outreach program, is working and supporting needs at a more statewide level, working on supporting the needs of students who are deaf and hard of hearing. And during that time, I had the wonderful opportunity of being trained by the pioneers, by the experts in our state, and working with administration and school districts to really understand how this expertise can be shared with teachers, but also can be used to support students at a more individual level. When my own children entered the school system and I could no longer travel, I came back to the fields, and I was able to use all of this expertise and knowledge that I had learned for many years at that statewide level. And I was able to implement it for myself and utilize it with my students. But I'll be honest, I actually burned out in that position, even with the knowledge, the supports, the background, everything that I had. I burned out and I left the field not once, but twice. And basically returned with new knowledge and a new passion for being able to not only sustain myself, but be able to sustain others within the field. Because as you understand, there's not very many teachers of the deaf and hard of hearing or interpreters in the field. So it's really important that we sustain them and that we take care of them so that we can better meet the needs of this unique population of students. I am also the founder of the Online Itinerant and the Signing Room. So these are two programs that were created with the purpose of being able to support the needs of others in the field. And then the signing room is to be able to support the sign language development of adults that work with and love on these kids. So I am also currently the president of CADE. CADE is our national nonprofit organization for professionals in the field. It's actually been around since 1870, so it's been around for a long time. And I am just really honored to be the president of that organization and be able to lead at a national level. Oops. So, as I mentioned, I am the founder of the Online Itinerant. In case you are not familiar with the Online Itinerant, it was founded in 2017 and it is a membership website. We're going to talk a little bit more about it, but what's important for you to know is that currently we have nearly 1,000 members. That means 1,000 people who subscribe annually to get the resources that I'm going to talk about today. So, who are the primary members of the Online Itinerant? What I'm talking about today is the Professional Academy. We also have some other programs which will be mentioned, but when I talk about 1,000 members, I am talking about the Professional Academy, which includes teachers of the deaf and hard of hearing, sign language interpreters, speech and language pathologists, educational audiologists, and administration that work with the staff and these students and have these students underneath them. So, just a quick summary of my story. So, I just told you I've been in the field for more than 25 years. And I have to be honest with you, this is kind of what happens often to our teachers, the deaf and hard of hearing, and other staff that's working with these students. I literally had 10 years of 12-hour days. So I remember when I first started this, I thought, well, this is because I'm a new teacher. This is what happens to first year teachers. 12-hour days are common. But it didn't change after my first year or my second year or even my third year. Every year was still a 12-hour day. And that was because my days were filled with lining things up for all of the students that I needed with my prep, my in-service of the multiple teachers that worked with these students. Managing technology. So, a lot of time was spent running around, checking hearing aids and finding batteries and just looking at all the technology that maybe wasn't working. And then, of course, adding on IEPs, data collection, and all of that. And I do want to say that these 10 years of 12-hour days, I actually had a team of people that supported me. I had other teachers of the deaf in the area. I had educational audiologists that worked with the district that we partnered with very closely. I had good administration and good support. And even with that, I still was working like crazy to keep up with my caseload of students. I constantly felt extremely scattered. I felt spread thin. I felt like my impact for my students was actually limited because I actually wasn't caught up with all of these things. I was still behind even with these 12-hour days. At the time, what I thought was the answer to this was to be able to add more time to my day. I thought, oh, if I only had 2 more hours that I could work in my day, if I could only work 14-hour days, then I could catch up. That was the life that I lived for many years. And now, in my position as I am working at a national level, I know that this is not my sole experience. This is actually the experience of many others in the field. So, when I burned out and I came back, I resolved to figure out a way to do my job well and not have to work a 12-hour day to be able to do it. And that is what is created inside of the Professional Academy. At the time, I really felt like I was kind of living in this desert situation. I felt dry. I felt like I was not being fed. I felt like I was kind of gasping for water, for relief. And I was just praying to be able to make it to the end of the school year. This is the experience that many in the field have. And research shows that there are 4 major reasons that people leave the field. So these are the top 4 reasons. One is the heavy workload. 2 is the emotional stress of having to do it all, right? And be able to support all of the students and try to balance their own family in the midst of it, the lack of support, which we're going to talk about in a bit, and then feelings of insignificance, those feelings as of I'm only here for 30 minutes once a month. Does it even matter? Am I making a difference? Am I supporting the student? When we talk about the heavy workload, this is because of the shortage that we're currently experiencing in the fields. This workload of we don't have enough teachers. So the current teachers that we have are assuming the caseload or dividing the caseload that we would have if we had extra teachers. Uh, and this is very difficult to manage. I want to talk about the lack of support. I was recently shared with the you'll notice number 3, lack of support has a star by it. This is a really big one. And recently, Angela Gray, who did her PhD dissertation, reached out to me and shared her dissertation research and showed that this was actually the number 1 reason that teachers left the field. And what we're talking about lack of support, this is the lack of others that really understand the what it's this is the lack of others that really understand the needs of this particular group of students, that really understand the resources that are out there and just the overall picture. What happens oftentimes is that our teachers, the deaf and hard of hearing, with their expertise in the area of what the needs are and the best practices are for working with this population of students, maybe it's brought up at an IEP meeting, or maybe it's discussed as a team. And the others around the table, not really understanding the unique needs, not really understanding the situation of the student, not really understanding the legal implications, will maybe not be open or not be receptive to this teacher's recommendations for the student. And then again, that leads to this feelings of insignificance, this emotional support, and this feeling of lack of support. So I come to you today with really wanting to present to you how we can reduce these issues or these concerns that teachers are experiencing within the field so that we can, again, sustain them, take care of them, and not have them leave, not have them burn out. So, what are the roles of the DHH teacher? You can take a peek at this visual graphic here, and let me just briefly work through them, because I want you to consider that this is the responsibility that the deaf and hard of hearing teacher has for each individual student on the caseload. So through the itinerant model, it's rare that we have more than one student in a single classroom. And often we have one student in a school or even in a district, and then they're hopping in the car and they are fulfilling all of these responsibilities for a completely different student at a completely different school. And then they leave that school and then they start over with each of these responsibilities for another student at another school. So the first thing is that they are responsible for identifying specific needs of their students. So we're talking about being able to identify their mainstreaming needs, their social and emotional needs, assessing behaviors, and is this related to hearing loss or not? And then their classroom academic needs. So identifying needs. Then when we're working with a student who's deaf and hard of hearing, the language access is very specific and very unique, because hearing loss is not a cognitive disability. It is not a learning disability. It is not a behavior disability. It is a sensory disability, and it impacts the access to language, which of course is the foundation for everything else that happens in a child's world. So it is their access, it is their gateway to learning and literacy. It is their gateway to their social relationships. It is their gateway to understanding the world and how in their world and how it functions. So without that strong language foundation, they are really going to be limited to everything in their world around them. So the teacher, the deaf and hard of hearing, has that unique lens and that unique area of expertise, as hearing loss how hearing loss impacts that. So they are responsible then for providing language development, signing support, or auditory training, which is very unique when it comes to students with hearing loss. It's very different from any other disability. Then they've got the unique responsibility of enlisting the village, because those teachers are really with our students for a short amount of time, and then they're gone and everybody else is working with these students for the rest of the day. So they need to be able to connect and support with staff and parents. They need to be able to provide the in-services, and it isn't just once a year. It really needs to be ongoing to be able to build that capacity and understanding of how to meet the needs of this unique population of students. Then they are also charged with the responsibility of supporting that building of classroom community within that general ed classroom. And then if there are interpreters in the picture, being able to support those interpreters within that picture. Now, you may or may not have an educational interpreter that is working with you, but even if you do, the deaf and hard of hearing teacher still supports the technology, including hearing aids and FM, what we call FM systems, cochlear implants, captioning, being able to have apps and other technology that's related. They are also involved in that. When it comes to working with the student, they are responsible for working on self-advocacy skills, which are very specific towards kids with hearing loss, and transition needs, which again, exclusive to kids with hearing loss, because the needs in terms of understanding what agencies to be lined up for being able to get hearing technology assistance, for knowing how to get an interpreter if needed, for knowing what are their responsibility, what does the student need to know in case there's an emergency situation? What types of technology in terms of baby monitors do you have for people with hearing loss who can't hear the baby? These are all very specific towards expertise in understanding hearing loss. Then again, we've got promoting social engagement, because hearing loss for our students can be very isolating for them. It really can cut them off from their social relationships. So it is the teacher, the deaf's expertise and knowledge area to be able to promote that social engagement and social emotional development. Then we've got our IEPs, of course, and then supporting the classroom needs, academics and the environment, reading. Okay. So what I want you to know is that this responsibility is very individual and unique for each individual student on a teacher's caseload. So you can appreciate if you've got a large caseload or multiple districts, multiple classrooms, this is really a non-ending responsibility. So again, which of all of these needs are unique to a teacher who is deaf and hard of hearing and students who are deaf and hard of hearing? Well, it's all of them. All of them. There really isn't another person on the IEP team who has been trained in each one of these areas as hearing loss, as there is really not another person on the IEP team that has been trained to look at how hearing loss is a barrier that impacts all of these. Sure, there are other people who have been on the who are on the team who can maybe look at one specific area of this. So, for example, speech and language, SLP, but their niche is not necessarily on the access look of it, but more on the cognitive development of it, which is different than understanding the access barrier and being able to walk alongside in that way. Now, of course, I recognize your duties as a special ed administrator, and this is just a snapshot, right? I know that I could make a huge long list, but you're kind of doing the same thing, aren't you? You are working on program management, you're working on compliance monitoring, staff support and supervision, budgeting and resource allocation, and that middle management position, which is really challenging, where you're working with the rules above and you're working with the people below, and you're trying to make that mesh. Now, what I mean when I say you're kind of in the same position, because each one of the people that you are working with has their own list, right? Their own responsibilities and their own, and it's very different from each other. So how you do your program management with this teacher is completely different from the program management that you have with this different teacher, because it's a different program and it's a different disability, maybe a completely different picture altogether. So you are also trying to balance that. And I know that your time is extremely spread thin with all of these humongous responsibilities, which is why the online itinerant wants to come alongside of you to be able to support your DHH staff better. Now, let me just go back here to this slide, because I also recognize that when you are working with all of the people that you are working with, the teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing is working with what we call a low incidence population. So out of all the students that you are kind of overseeing, all of the students that you are responsible for, your deaf and hard of hearing students are maybe one of the smallest population of students that you are working with. However, with that being said, it's not uncommon for that population of students to be one of the most expensive populations of students. And also the staff can be one of the most expensive populations that you are working with. So I'm not even talking about the student needs here. I'm talking about the staff needs and being able to support the staff. So the staff, deaf and hard of hearing staff, you often has unique materials that others don't use in the school or don't have in the school. So you're ordering specialized materials. You are maybe providing specialized supports in terms of maybe you are hiring interpreters, sign language interpreters for those students. Maybe you're getting specialized materials, a technology for these students. But the need for the professional development for this population of staff is very different as well. There aren't trainings that are often in the professional development that really fit into the professional development needs of this staff. And then the other expense that you are dealing with when we're working with this particular staff, not even talking about the students, but just how challenging it is to be able to find a deaf and hard of hearing, a teacher for the deaf and hard of hearing, or an interpreter. So once you find them, you want to keep them. Now, you might be you might be contracting out from an agency who also contracts out to share this person. And I realize how expensive that is. Maybe you're paying an hourly rate. Maybe that rate is exorbitant. But again, we want to make sure that these people are sustained and cared for, because we don't want to lose them, because then it only is more difficult to meet the needs of these students if you don't have the available staff to take care of it. Okay, enter the online itinerant. And the program that we have, our Gold Star program, is called the Professional Academy. That's what that's what has been launched for you to be able to support you, to help you support your teachers. And we're going to talk about the 4 foundations that builds upon, that supports these teachers. We are going to talk about the pillars. I'm going to talk about the pillars that will support your teachers, and your interpreters and your other staff, to be able to meet the needs of these students better and be able to sustain them and actually lighten their load in the process. So these are the 3 pillars to success. We've got resources, we've got training, and then we've got the community and the support. These are things that are very specific towards your staff needs and very exclusive to the Professional Academy. So pillar number 1 that the Professional Academy provides are the resources. These are digital resources. No longer does your staff need to fill up the trunk of their car and travel to the school and hope that they have the resources that they need, the lesson plans and all the activities that they need to work with the student, only to get to the school and realize they actually forgot that assessment for that student that day. Or maybe that they don't have that assessment and they need to go find somebody else who has it. No longer is this going to happen because it's all built inside of the teaching toolbox. Over $500 in tools that includes assessments that are specific towards deaf and hard of hearing students, auditory processing, auditory training, language building, self-advocacy materials, self-identity, social emotional, transition resources and tools, but then also handouts for staff and families, in servicing, and IEP support. I mean, really, the list goes on and on. Many of the activities and tools inside the toolbox are not specific and created by the online itinerant, but actually purchased by the online itinerant to put in the toolbox so that you don't have to also buy it outside and be able to utilize it. I'm going to show it to you later, but everything is inside this one area, accessible, and everything is also downloadable, printable if needed, but also available on any tablet or any device at any time. Pillar number 2 is professional development. So what's different about the professional development inside the online itinerant? Well, what I like to point out is all of the trainings are broken into what we call micro modules. And here's why. Because, and maybe you can appreciate this as well, time is limited. And much of our staff has very, very, very little time in front of their computer to be able to actually access a training. If they are accessing a training, then they're probably multitasking and maybe emailing or maybe working on something else at the same time because time is such an asset. It's also difficult to sit through an entire hour-long training and not be interrupted. And then if you have to be interrupted, being able to pick up where you left off, that's kind of a nightmare, being able to figure out where you left off and what that means. And that's why the online itinerant has actually taken all of our trainings and broken them down into basically 15-minute segments. So this means that you can listen for 15 minutes and then you can stop. You can digest it. You can try whatever strategy has been introduced. You can take a break and then you can return to it. And that's actually going to be able to build your capacity. It's going to build your retention, and it's going to be able to build your success in being able to utilize this training and make it meaningful to you. The other thing that's very specific and exclusive to the online itinerant is I actually have a branded app. So you can actually download the app, and this is valuable for your teachers who have a lot of windshield time. They're driving to meet students. That means that there's just time on the road that they're not at their computer, they're not at their email, they're not able to work on IEPs, but they can still be productive and they can still get some value out of that time. They can do that actually by listening to professional development for however much time they're available on the road. Sometimes it's a 20-minute trip, sometimes it's an hour, but they're able to utilize this time to access the professional development. The other thing that is really specific and nice about the online itinerant, we have over 50 hours of trainings that is unique and specific towards the needs of this population of students, which means we guarantee a fit for whoever is accessing it for their needs. If this is a brand new teacher in the field, we've got something that's not going to overwhelm them. It's going to support them exactly where they're at exactly what they need. If you have a veteran teacher who's been in the field for 25 years, same thing. It's going to meet them exactly where they're at and exactly what they need without being something that's so basic or redundant and not meaningful. So we also offer professional development credit for your teachers. And this also includes RID credits for your interpreters. So your interpreters also need professional development to sustain their licensure. Typically, interpreters, their professional development is on signing skills, but they need so much more. They actually need support that is how to navigate the needs of this unique student that is beyond the signing skills. Maybe it's working with a team. Maybe it's understanding how to support and kind of tutor the student, because oftentimes they're working on literacy and reading. And this is not something that has been built into their interpreter training program, because that primarily has been sign language skills. The third pillar is a big one, and this is the pillar of community and support. So this is what's different about the Professional Academy, and this is the regular, ongoing, consistent support, live support that we provide for your professionals. So what does this look like? Well, once a week, there is an opportunity for people to come in and learn and get detailed information about what the trainings are and what the tools are that they've got access to. So if they've got a student and they say, I've got this particular student and this is the needs, then they can actually be pointed directly to what is inside the program that will support them. So they're not spinning their wheels on things that are not important or not helpful to them. That's every week and it's live. Then twice a month, we've got what we call the power hours. And this is where you come in and you say, okay, I've got this specific situation. I've got this challenge. And you get together with the community and you can brainstorm ideas. You can network. You can see what other people are doing. You can learn about the law. You can understand the best practices better. Again, perfect for no matter where you are in your experience in working with these students, there's something for you. And this is a learning opportunity to be able to get with others in the field and be able to get that support. Then once a month, we've got a live training where we bring in an expert in the area on something very unique. We just had a training on the Danielson model and how the Danielson framework for teaching, which is the common teacher evaluation tool, how you can take the itinerant model and how that can fit in beautifully with the Danielson model, which this doesn't always seem natural. This doesn't seem seamless, but it can be. So the live training with an expert on how to do that, and people can ask questions. They're there live. You're face to face with the trainer. And then we also have a very active online community. So what does this provide? This really stops that isolation. This really supports you as an administrator to be able to come in and understand better the needs of the students and the staff that are working with these students. This supports the interpreters, this supports the teachers, the SLPs. Everybody can come together as a community and learn and be able to support each other. And it's kind of a phenomenal thing that we offer. And again, it's ongoing all year long. The other thing that is really important that you know is that for your teachers and your professionals, so when I say teachers, I'm including teachers of the deaf, SLPs, interpreters, and also you as well. So really what the online itinerant also offers that is very unique to the online itinerant is free parent support. So there is another program that's called the Friend Academy. Now, the Friend Academy is our parent program. These are specific trainings and support for parents. So this teaches parents, has trainings on what are the unique needs of your child. What is the technology that they need to have that will help them be successful? What is the language? How can you support their language development? Who are the people at the IEP table and what do they do? What's your responsibility? What can you ask as parents? So all of this support, but parents also get the teaching toolbox so that they can actually have activities that can support their child's language development, that can help their child's independence, that can help them partner with the school better. And then parents also have power hours where parents just come together and parents get to participate and meet other parents, ask the questions. This, when you've got anybody who's in the professional academy, then we want to support that person. We want to help them support parents. So how do we do that? We give the parent program to their caseload for free. It's included in the price of the professional academy. Why? Why do we do what we do? Why is the online itinerant developed like it's developed? It's because I recognize that nobody has got the luxury of time right now. That just really is a luxury, including you. I recognize that you don't have the time to be able to support all of the needs of the staff that you have working with these students, plus all of the needs of the staff that you have working with all of the other students that is underneath your care. So the online itinerant puts everything at your fingertips. It's a one-stop shop. There's no need to search around and try to find additional tools, additional assessments, additional information. It's all in one place. And the whole purpose of it is to be able to help lighten the load of you and also the staff that works with these students, be able to lighten the load so that it's easier for you. So you've got more time to do these other things. And then there's also you text messaging that helps you get tips and reminders. So really less for you to remember, less for you on your plate, and less for everybody else as well. Again, you can access right now the Online Itinerant app. You can find it in your app store. And when you do, if you go to the app offers, you'll see that there are free resources. You don't have to be a member. You can grab the app now. You'll get extra information and extra support. Again, because who's got time? Who's got time to constantly be searching on the internet and try to find everything that's available out there? So today I just want to take a minute and talk about how is this specific to you? How is this important to you as administrators? I want you to know how other administrators are using the online itinerant. Administrators are using the online itinerant to support your teachers of the deaf, your interpreters, your SLPs, and your audiologists. Administrators are using it to support emergency certified staff because this is one of the challenges. A lot of times somebody gets hired, they're new, they're emergency certified, they don't have the experience, they're put in this itinerant role. And the trick with the itinerant role is you're kind of on your own out there. You are a one-man show driving to different schools, and there are not other people to be able to support you learn all of those roles and responsibilities that we talked about earlier. And this can be very overwhelming and very exhausting. So the online itinerant can support you in helping support this emergency staff or even these new grads, new people to the field, new people to the itinerant model. But it also provides the assessments. It provides the materials, so you don't have to order them again. You don't need more money for this. And again, very niche professional development, really honing in on the specific needs of this group of professionals. But then also to be able to help you say, we are supporting parents. We are going the extra mile. We are doing these extra things to be able to support the parents. But really, I'm the person who's helping you do that. So I'm walking alongside of you to be able to support your parents in the process. So people say, oh my gosh, but Stefanie, it's expensive, the professional academy, because the price of the professional academy, you're probably wondering, how much does it all cost? Just give me the bottom line. So the professional academy, the sticker price is $224 for 12 months. Okay. Uh, we're going to talk about how you can get it for less, but this is the $224 is the sticker price. And I like to compare that $224 price point to potentially your average conference. So an average conference, what we've got, an average one about $285 is what I found. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Average conference, potentially 2 days. But if you're traveling to a conference, then you also have to consider the hotel fees, the food, and the mileage. And then you have to remember that the cost of this conference covers you for those 2 days. When we compare that to the professional academy, first of all, you don't have to worry about hotel or food or mileage or subs or anything like that. But it's also not just for 2 days, it's for 12 months of support. And with that 12 months of support, you get access to trainings all year long. You also get that ongoing support that we talked about. You also get the materials and the assessments. You also get the app access. You also get what I talked about with that perfect fit guarantee. So if you're a new teacher, we've got support for you. If you're a veteran teacher, been in the field for 20 years, we've got the support for you. And then we've got the parent support as well, the parent program. So when you look at the bottom line, really, for a conference, you're looking at $600 to $800 for 2 days. Whereas the online itinerants, we're looking at a price point of max $224 for 12 months. So my question to you is, can you really not afford it? Or is this something that really is kind of a must-have for you to be able to support your staff and your parents? So let's talk about the discounts. Okay, because this is what I want to make sure you're aware of and how valuable it is for you and the special opportunity that I have for you as administrators right now. So first of all, we do accept purchase orders, and we do accept purchase orders, period. And we also offer group memberships. So our group memberships are 4 to 9 members. You get a 25% discount off of that 224 price point. So that works out to be $168 per person. 10 or more members, we're looking at a 30% off discount. So that comes down to only $156.80 per person. That gives you all of the professional development, all of the materials and assessments, the parent program, and that live support that happens ongoing for 12 months. So you should consider not only your teachers, the deaf and hard of hearing, but also the speech and language pathologists, also the educational audiologists, also your sign language interpreters, and yourself. You should absolutely consider that. Now, just so you know, the discounts do change in May. So in May, this discount will be going down to 20% for that group of 4 to 9 and 25% for that group of 10 or more. So now is really a great time to hop on board and get these group memberships and get this discount. But for you, I want you to know the special offer that we have right now is that you as administration overseeing the staff and having this student population underneath you, you get a free membership now through May. How do you get this free membership? You need to mention this training. You need to mention, I attended your training, and you could either live or the recording afterwards. You need to mention that you attended the training and that you would like your free administrator membership. And then your membership will be free. So this means that you can attend the trainings. You can attend the power hours. You can learn what's going on in the field. You can ask the hard questions. If you're unclear about what LRE means for a student who is deaf, because it's different. LRE is different for a student who is deaf than it is for every other student who qualifies for special education. What does the law say about interpreters? What does the law say about what we provide for students? How do we know if this student really needs this? Come on in and let's talk about it and meet with other administrators, but also other experts in the field. So your membership as an administrator is free. When you've seen this training, you just have to mention it through May. So I do want to keep in mind that this might not be the right answer for everybody, but there's also loads of free resources for you as well. So the free resources that we've got is the Audit-Proof Goal Bank. This is huge for people because this provides you with the assessments and then how the assessments lead to goals. It gives you the audit-proof language to make sure that your goals are measurable, observable, all of the things that we require for goals. And then also it gives the objectives for you, and it's copy and paste, but you can modify it and make it specific for your students. So this is a free resource. Now we also have this resource inside the Professional Academy, but it goes further. Inside the Professional Academy, you not only get the free audit-proof goal banks, but you get the individual benchmarks, the data collection forms, and actually the assessments, excuse me, the lessons and the activities to be able to teach and check off each individual goal. But then we've also got some additional free resources. These are for anybody. These are for anybody, and I absolutely invite you to go to the website, www.theonlineitinerant.com, to check it out and access it. Now, just go to the store and find the free resources available to you. So I would love to give you a brief tour of the Professional Academy. So what you see here is you see our website, www.theonlineitinerant.com. Once you go here, I want you to see our full store is where you can access all of our free resources. Now, if you want to submit a purchase order, you cannot find that in the store. You need to email me directly. And then if you are a member of the Online Itinerant, you have a login. Okay, so once you log in, this is what the library looks like. Now, these are the free app resources. You don't have to be a member of the Professional Academy to get these free app resources. You just need to access them through the app and download them through the app. But this is just what I want to give you a sneak peek of. We certainly don't have time to go through everything, but the few things the things that I would love to show you is I want to give you a glimpse of all the trainings, and I want to give you a glimpse of some of the tools. So our trainings are housed in two areas. Our trainings are housed in this section called on-demand trainings. And then our live trainings that happen every month is our bonus trainings and our meetup. In addition, when you add your families to the Friend Academy, then you also get the Friend Academy trainings. Now, this gives a lot of trainings. And to give you a sneak peek of all the trainings that we have, I'm going to show you this, just a glimpse of what all we have. Now, they are actually organized into categories, and this glimpse right here organizes them alphabetically. But I'm just going to give you a peek of what all we have. So from this area, you can see we've got really the spectrum of needs. So we've got, a training on using the NASD guidelines for our students. We've got Usher syndrome, the Perez case, implementing AAC devices with deaf students. Then we have this is the one that we just had, our Danielson framework model. We've got a training coming up on working with interpreters and the DHH teacher collaborating well together, assessing language skills in preschool students. Let me just move on down here. So we've got trainings that wrap around legal implications, 504s and IEPs. We've got assistive technology and apps. We've got building collaboration with adults, speech perception skills, captioning. We've got Friend Academy trainings. These are our parent trainings. And just to give you a quick glimpse of some of these, first of all, we've got deafness and autism. We've got working with kids with processing disorders. We've got, again, captioning, learning about sensory issues. What is the barrier of hearing loss? How does it actually impact your child? So I actually don't have time to go through all of our trainings, but you can see we have more than 50 hours of trainings that are specific towards this population. The next thing I just want to give you a small glimpse of, just keeping the eye on the time. This is inside the toolbox. So you'll notice these are all of our categories inside of the toolbox. And once you click on each category, it opens up all of the activities inside. Now, usually these activities are ones that are hard to find out elsewhere. These are ones that teachers are searching for, scanning for, buying and paying for. And yet inside the Professional Academy, we have got loads of them. loads and loads of just lessons and activities. And just to kind of give you a little glimpse of what these might look like. So this one is self-identity, building understanding and knowledge of what it's like to live with a hearing loss and how to just move forward, right? And become a strong leader. So each one of these activities, we've got a little video, we've got maybe a reading activity, but then also the kids get to click and see what they have in common with that person and how are they similar. And it helps kind of build their understanding of themselves and also empower them to become leaders. So let me go back. And then there is usually another activity that students can do. And then these are downloadable. So this is a PDF. You can download it and you can, oh, here we go. Let me just show you this activity here. Okay, so this particular activity is a memory game. And it teaches the different types of hearing aid technology. So we've got pictures and then the vocabulary. Okay, so I certainly don't have time to walk you through this. If you are interested in learning more about all of this, I want to invite you to a Tuesday tour. This is where we really walk through everything that is inside of the online itinerant. Just go to our website and click on that Tuesday tour right here. And let's get you registered for a tour more in depth of what is inside. So what do I want to offer to you today? The purpose of me connecting with you is to be able to help you help your DHH staff and you thrive in the desert. So this picture actually is of Death Valley. The picture I showed you earlier, also of Death Valley in the desert, but this is Death Valley when the conditions are just right. Death Valley actually blooms and becomes this beautiful sight of flowers and just beauty. And the goal of the online itinerant is to be able to get your teachers out of that feeling of being in the desert and just being able to thrive within their situation. So the online itinerant is going to help you provide those tools to lighten the load, give that joy within the job, provide that ongoing support all year long, and then also be able to provide impact for students. So not only is that an offer for your staff that works with this population of students, but it's also an offer for you because I want to be able to build your understanding of the needs of students who are deaf and hard of hearing and also be able to help you support your support your staff more successfully. So if you have any questions, I want to be able to connect with you personally. I want you to know that you can email the online itinerant. That would be me, my personal email. I want you to email me personally, Stefanie at theonlineitinerant.com. Let's reach out. Let's connect. I would love to be able to get you and your staff on board. We've got these group memberships. We've got the special discount through May. And if you mention this training, then I want to add you in for free so that you can walk alongside your staff and your parents as well. So thank you so much for watching this training today. And I really look forward to you connecting with me. Let's get you in. If you are not yet in, let's get you in. Come on board. Let's get you and your staff inside the online itinerant. If you want to see more, join our Tuesday tour.